Okay, so I think we have to address what happened this year. Well, last year for when this comes out. This should be coming out on the 1st of Jan. So hopefully you had a good Christmas. Hopefully you had a good New Year. Let's talk about what happened with my cars in 2023. I think it's fairly safe and obvious to say that things went a bit wrong. Things went a bit crazy. So I'm going to be covering it all and how we ended up buying 11 cars in 1 year from just one guy. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't like say it was cool. It's a problem. It is a problem. It was a problem. So we're going to talk about it. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you enjoyed what came of last year. Despite all the stress and the challenges and the problems, it was quite a cool year for content. We got to see a lot of new cars. So please leave a like and subscribe. Let's see what happens in 2024. So I had 11 cars in 2023. That's not overall. That's just 2023. Started off with the Mark 8 Fiesta ST line, then the Clio 172, then the 335i Touring, and then the Clio 197, and then the Seat Arosa, and then the Mazda MX-5, and then the Cupra K1, and then another MX-5, and then the 182, and then the ST line again, and then the ST, and then the Anniversary. I think I've done that right. Let me just make sure. I've genuinely lost count. Basically, we went through a lot of cars. I'm going to be saying where I went wrong and what I plan to do this year to make things right. Let's just put it this way. This time last year, I was in a very good position. I was inquiring about flats, about properties to potentially rent out. And obviously, if you saw the previous one, my plans and goals for 2024, that is my goal for the year, to get back into property. I'm no longer in that position. I haven't wasted it all on cars, but a lot of it has gone towards cars. So my goal, firstly, is to get back on track, and then to grow towards property. I can enjoy cars at a later date. Right now, and need to enjoy working hard, I guess. So started off the year with the Mark 8 ST line in black. This car still, I'd say it now, was one of the best cars I've ever owned. It was just good. It was just reliable. It just did what it was meant to do. And that's why I got bored, because it was too good at what it did. So I wanted a car on the side. So I got the Clio 172. Loved that car. Again, probably one of the best cars I've ever owned. Couldn't get insured on it at the time. I was 20 at the time, so I did have to sell the car. I then went from the ST line to the 335i Touring, which, if you don't follow the channel, it rinsed me on fuel. This is where things started to go wrong as well. I then went to a Clio 197, which, again, one of the best cars I've ever owned. Obviously it went wrong, so it's easy to get blinded by the positives, when in reality that car would have cost me an arm and a leg. So instantly, that's 3 cars or 4 cars that I love. The 335i was great. Yes, it rinsed me on fuel, but it was such a cool car, like a touring, big engine, just beast. And at the age of 20, I just started to go to the gym as well. I just felt like the shit. I just felt so cool. But I still had interest in buying and selling cars, I guess you could say. That's not what I got this first one for. I believe the first one I got while I had the 197 was the Mark 1 Arosa. There's a lot of terms and names in this video, so just try and stay with me. The Arosa was going to be like a stance project kind of thing. It needed a lot more paintwork than I initially thought, which is fine. But it's the rarest paint they made, so trying to get paint for it was like impossible. And I was just like, do you know what? I'm over it. So I sold it at a loss. I've sold every single car this year, bar the 2 MX-5s at a loss, just for context of why I'm not giving up with cars, but like I'm easing up a lot. It's all fun and games, but like, yeah, no. So after the Arosa, I think in the same week, actually, I got a MX-5. I bought it off my mate. I made a good profit on it. It was Cat S, which I wasn't told about, but it was fine. It was back in like 2014 or something. It needed a new tyre, put it through MOT, sold it for quite a nice profit. After that, I then got a Cupra K1, which I should have kept, to be honest, both for content and for myself. I think that car was sick, but I had my 197 at the time, and I couldn't imagine changing the 197 for anything. So the Cupra did go. I know it doesn't make sense, but like, in the moment, the 197 was the car. So yeah, the Cupra then went. I made quite a big loss on that car. Again, it was more of an impulsive one I bought with my heart, not really with my head. After the Cupra, I got a Clio 182. That's right. I got my Clio 182, which I was told was like immaculate, and it turns out it was a bag of rubbish. Leaks everywhere. Gearbox was, it was a mess. As I'm sure you can guess, quite a big loss on that, because I paid a somewhat premium price for a premium car, and then it turns out it was like one of the worst examples you could find. So I got stung on that. In the same week, I bought the MX-5, which I accidentally placed a bid on, went down to pick it up, and so I basically had 3 cars, 2 in the same week. That car I sold for a profit. I think I made like £1.01 on it. Like, I'm not making it up. I think I made £1.01. But a profit is a profit. So that car was a automatic. He changed it to a manual now, which is sick. Like, he keeps me updated on the car. It's so cool. After the MX-5, I eventually sold both the 182 and the 197, because the 182 needed too much work, which I was prepared to do, but then the 197 shit itself, so I needed to get rid of them both, unfortunately. I then got my Fiesta ST line, the second one in white. Stunning car, beautiful spec, but there were a couple of things that just weren't sitting right with me, and I bought my first Fiesta from them, and it was a bit of a dog as well. Like, it still had finance on it. The car itself was fine, but like on the back end of things, there was a lot of things that they didn't do properly, so I didn't really want to go back to them as it was. But they had the right car. I went back. Turns out it wasn't the right car. Luckily, I was able to return the car and get a refund after like 2 weeks. It was a headache, a lot of back and forth, but I did return that car. Didn't do any content on the car. That's how like short of a time I had it. And I also got that car to stop changing cars. So then to change it after like a week or two, it was a bit like, oh, this is really frustrating. After the ST line, I got my current ST, the ST3. I don't really know what the plan is with that at the moment. As I said in the previous one, or at the start of this one, I am trying to focus on property and like that kind of thing. So it is all fun and games having a car that's quite fun, quite powerful, but these things aren't free. They aren't exactly cheap either, so I'm going to see what I can and can't do. I don't want to jump ship like I have been all year. I want to think it through properly and make the right choice, but there is potential. That car is on the chopping block. Prices at the moment are disgusting, so there's no point in me selling it. If I ever do, it'll be like April, May time kind of thing. And then after the ST, I've also got my current Fiesta Mark 6 Anniversary, which I love. I've slammed it, put on new wheels. I love that car. It's got a bit of an issue at the moment, which I'll cover in a future video. It means the car can't actually drive, which is a proper pain, but we're getting there. I believe that is everything. So what went wrong? I was too impulsive. As I said, I bought with my heart, didn't really think with my head. I made a couple of profits, but overall I made a major loss throughout 2023. So going forward into 2024, I'm going to be a lot more slower. I'm going to think things through a lot more thoroughly, and just make sure I'm on top of my game, because this time last year I was in such a good place. It breaks my heart. I was in such a good place. We will get there though. I don't let hurdles beat me. I just jump over them. As cringe as that sounds, I've got the drive to get back on top of things, and not only back on top of things, but climb even more. So hopefully you enjoy what's to come. I'm not saying the car content will stop. It will never stop. That's always a passion of mine, whether I put it on the channel or not. It's always a passion of mine. So one way or another, I will keep the channel flowing with content. I am also going to try and do what I did last year, which is post every day in January. It just gets the year off to a great start and keeps me in the mood, in the swing of things. So hopefully you enjoy what's to come, and hopefully I'll see you again. Cheers.